Hi, Virgo. This is your reading for the week of August 11th or whenever it resonates. And of course, it won't be for every Virgo. But I feel this has to do with your attitude about money, productivity, and how that reflects on your ego. And what Spirit is saying is you are so much more than what you have believed yourself to be. You are far more a conduit of beauty, of divine inspiration, and of the ability to impact the world beyond what you have perceived. And that part of what is limiting you now from being able to express that in the world around you can link back to some of your old ideas about money and your need to make money as a statement of your success and as a statement of your value. This is where it gets linked to your ego and your self-perception. Now, money is fundamentally anchored in what in energy medicine we would call the root chakra, the earth, okay? It's the same place where our ego actually is supported. That's the energy that supports the development of the ego, is the root chakra, tribal family, survival instinct, fear and courage. And this is really important because this is where a lot of our core beliefs around who we are, what our value is, and the play of money in that, because money is very much about survival and social instinct, social placement, and that's what the earth energy is all about. As a child, that's what we're learning. We're learning how to be in the world, typically in accordance with the values that we're taught. So what the image that started this whole reading for you was you looking at a book of ledgers and figures and this is what's coming in, this is what's going out, and the almost obsessive quality that can go along with that. And then all of a sudden you going and throwing the book aside and Spirit going, yay! Okay? This is because, Virgo, as an earth sign, you're going to be focused on survival. It's part of what an earth sign is about. You're going to be focused on social standing as an aspect of survival, earning as an aspect of survival, self-worth to be able to make money as an aspect of survival. But Virgo, you're moving way beyond that. You have so much more than that. I think every single Virgo I've ever met has had an inherently creative spirit and has had a real sense of wanting to connect to, well, not even wanting to connect, but being connected to something more profound than making money. Sometimes that need to make money and well, I'm just going to say the need to make money, but as you know, it's so much more than that, as I've just described. Reinforcing their sense of self-worth through success and making money. It can blind them to what's not happening in their lives emotionally and spiritually. And even though that calling is there, sometimes what can happen is you're so focused on this really table and chair reality of success and survival that you lose contact with what's going on in your heart, and you forget the fact that that heart connection to something bigger is so profound and feeds your sense of connection and emotional availability and creativity. And the thing about it is, the creativity that you have to offer, whether it's through music, through some kind of visual art, sculpture, writing, whatever it is, because you have an innate sense of that, it's going to come through in your work when you do it. But if you're so focused and fixated on the work, the productivity, the expression of money as productivity and survival, then it can kind of move you away from that deeper sense of knowing and move you into more of the personality and out of higher conscious. Now, higher conscious, we talk about higher conscious a lot. Well, what's higher conscious? Higher conscious is your connection to divine energy, to your essence of who you are beyond your personality, beyond the need to survive. And what this is asking you to do is look at what your issues are around money that created restrictions in your lives. Look honestly at where, for example, maybe your obsession with work prevented you from having a stable relationship. Perhaps your fixation on being productive has prevented you from being able to be creative. Look at where some of your, what I would call failings in life, came from almost like a blinded perception of life. And check in, what was your role? If you've had relationships go awry, what was your role in those relationships connected to money, productivity, survival? Because, and it's not just that, it's the structure that's so important. It's the rigidity that can come around that. The ego is a fragile thing, or it can be a fragile thing. It is something that is so very connected to our sense of survival that sometimes when it's time for us to be challenging our rules and our beliefs around anything, that we find it hard to really look at it honestly. We'll run back to those things that are familiar and secure. Virgo, it may just be around money at this point in time that you need to be able to look and say, where are my restrictions around it? And how can I loosen up around it and not lose my sense of self, my sense of value, my sense of authenticity if I don't work hard, if I don't bring in the money? Where can I set myself free from those old beliefs about I'm not enough, I'm not secure, I'm not independent, I'm all the I'm nots if you're not making a lot of money. And if making money is a statement of your value, your moral value, your societal value, your sense of self-worth. This is big. This is very big, Virgo, because it's really asking you to start understanding the value of your creative and spiritual nature and what that looks like. And further to that, it's trusting that if you trying versus doing, remorse and guilt, can't and won't. You've got 3 cards here, my loves, that are this and that, 2 different things. So it says to me there may be a conflict for you around this right now. And because the first image that I saw with you and finances and ledgers, I have to say, I believe it has to do with money. I believe it has to do with self-value. I believe it has to do with you being able to trust that you are more than that. And that when you lean into the value, the beauty, the spirituality of your creative abilities, and those desires that your heart is telling you to go for, that spirit is going to give you what you need to move forward. It's going to be up to you whether or not you decide to actually take the opportunities that the universe is giving you, saying, learn who you are in this new way. How is that going to affect your ability to connect? Because, as I said, I've known many, many Virgos who all have that sense of deep creativity, but who in the process of struggling to make things work for themselves have very often lost out on their connection to other people in an intimate way. I'm not saying that's all of you, and I'm not saying that you haven't had great relationships, but what I feel is that this is a time for you to really look at what has been going on for you that has maybe not created the depth of relationships that you want, and can you please consider the fact that by understanding what your role was in that, by leaning into the idea that there is somebody greater than you that might know better than the mind structure you've created, that the ideas around money and support and making money that you've had, that you've created, that there may be a stronger influence for you there, and that there are angels everywhere. So what I'm getting here with you, Virgos, is that if you're challenging yourselves, good for you. If you're challenging yourselves on money, the role money is playing in your life, the value that you've put on it in terms of success and self-worth, the ego, the ouchy ego things that go along with making money, you're not making money. This is where you're starting to evolve into a higher frequency. And look at what the opportunities are. Opportunities that you've given up in terms of relationship, opportunities that you've given up in terms of being more creative in the ways that you would like to be more creative, feeling secure in the way you'd like to feel secure, feeling stable and like you have the internal tools to be able to move forward in life without having to struggle all the time. Can you accept that divine grace and that divine help that is around you and ready to bring you into a place where you can drop the stressors in your life and create? Can you let go of what's going on with your ego around success, performance, and money in a way where you can flow with this beautiful big Virgo heart into divine presence in your life and divine guidance in your life, where you get to enjoy your sense. And there's the card that last comes up, creativity. Okay? Virgo, I'm leaving you with that, my dears. Take care.